Wow, an honor.
Yes. So just give an introduction to yourself.
Okay.
You spoke last time, and it was fascinating to see your project and what you're doing. But just give another intro to yourself so people can hear who weren't here last time, and then just jump straight into the presentation. You got
Okay.
5 minutes, and I'll give you a warning towards the end.
All right, great. So I got to start rolling now. So hi, I'm Bill Moore. I'm located in a town called Papillion in Nebraska, which is basically the county seat of the next county south of Omaha. So basically, we're all part of the same kind of large metro area. I am a seasoned web developer. I built my first website in 1993 and have been talking for about the last 20 plus years about electric vehicle technology. That is an area that I'm still intensely interested in, but then I've also begun to take an interest in things like augmented reality, most recently blockchain, although I'd heard about it several years ago and was at a conference regarding it and things, but never kind of seriously pursued it until recently, early part of the year, and decided to see if we could take that technology, blockchain technology, and apply that to a project that I began called the Camp 1874 Experience. So basically, that is a project that would merge augmented reality, artificial intelligence, and the blockchain to make an entirely new kind of experience that people can participate in. And the first step in that roadmap to getting there is the development of an augmented reality game. So if you don't mind, I'm going to try an experiment, and I'm going to try to put my 5-slide keynote up and see if that works. Can I do that?
Yeah, go for it.
All righty, here we go.
Share your screen.
Share the screen. Then I'm going to take in punch play, and hopefully that'll work. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right. So what I'm proposing is what's called NFTs that are mimic biological systems. This is part of the round 5 funding. So what I'm talking about doing is basically minting, if you will, living smart contracts. And I'll explain exactly what I mean by living contracts. Now, let me go back and imagine back prior to European contact, there were an estimated somewhere between 25 and 60 million North American bison roaming the continent from Canada to Mexico, from basically the Rocky Mountains, clear all the way to the Tidewater. Over time, those began to diminish. And of course, by the time we got to 1880, that herd of millions of animals had been cut down to less than 1,000 animals. So in learning about that story, I began to see some lessons that I think that we as a modern population can learn from. So what I am talking about in this game is basically creating a virtual herd of bison that rivals the bison's pre-Columbian period. But of course, all digital and computer and things. So basically think of this like Pokemon, except only wilder and woollier, because you have to take and actually capture bison. But then once you've captured them, you're responsible for their care. And then, of course, if you wish, you can take and trade those. And there are some economic potential to that. So what is a living digital bison? So basically, these are bison that can respond to grazing conditions in an area. They can breed and pass on their genetics. They can take and migrate and move as a herd or as singularly. But again, all in a virtual environment, not obviously for real, but in a virtual environment. And how do we do that? By taking and what I call, and this is something that obviously that I want to involve people that are way smarter than I am about computer programming and smart contracts, addressable smart contract metadata. So the contract is fixed and firm as to who has custodianship. I don't like to use the term ownership, but custodianship of the Bison. That information and the identification of the Bison and so on, that remains fixed. But where those Bisons are located, what kind of health they're in, what their age is, those kinds of factors are determined by exterior environmental factors. So we're in, as you know, here in the West, we're in a drought condition. Some of the communities around us have begun to apply water rationing policies. So a real bison herd would have to respond to that. And so a virtual bison herd should do the same. And in the process, the person who has custodianship of that herd is now responsible for looking after, just as they would a real herd.
So Bill, I want to just point out you've got about a minute left.
All right, so, good, because that's where I'm going to wrap up. This is essentially kind of a schematic of what the game looks like, or the layout of how the game would be applied. Be available, of course, in Android and iOS. And of course, then the game objective is to expose an increasingly urbanized population to the challenges and rewards of thoughtful, caring custodianship of nature, or the next best thing, in this case, a herd of wild bison. And so then I have some funding objectives, basically to take and be able to create a necessary team to create the ITO and then move forward from there. So there's some URLs.
Who would you like to connect with you about this?
What I would really like to connect with is, first, obviously, to do this, we have to get funding. I don't have the resources to do something like this. So what I'm thinking doing is I need to have some kind of a fundraising effort, which I'm calling an initial token offering, rather than an ICO or an STO. And that I need the people who know how to do that to come and give me the advice and direct me and help me organize the necessary team to do that, so we can raise the funds to then make this happen. So
great.
That's what I'm looking for.
Where should they contact you? What contact details? Could you post those in the chat?
So any of those URLs can reach me, but also you can reach me at bmore@toonstech.com.
All right, and if you can put that in the chat, and we'll also put that in the notes so that afterwards people can connect with you as well.
Will do. Right. Thank you very much.
Good. Yeah. Thank you, Bill. All right. Wonderful presentation.